Look at that. Perfect. Perfect timing. I just need to get it so you guys can see it. Hello, everyone. This is... Oh, it's kind of good like that. I need to just not be in it. What if we do it like this for a minute? Hi, everyone. It's Sarah, and this is the Sarah Watt Show. Week number 3, I think we're up to. Sorry, I'm going to do something really rude and clean my camera. I just want to make sure you guys are getting... Oh, and are my AirPods connected? I think they are. Oh my God. Talk about OCD, autism, ADHD, ADD all rolled into one, doing a Facebook Live. Very interesting. So welcome everyone that's not here. Oh my God, one person just joined. Hello, whoever you are. Welcome to the Sarah Watt Show, Sunset from My Backyard edition. So I wanted to do this. Oh, actually, I don't have my AirPods in. Crap, let me get them. God, I'm hopeless today. Apparently it's one of those days, you know. But you guys can come inside with me while I find my AirPods. So yeah, I take a lot of photos of my sunsets from my backyard, and people love them because they're epic. And so I thought I would do today's show from there so I could show all of you guys how epic they are. We've probably only got, I don't know, like 20 minutes or something until the sunset. So let me... Now I'm dropping everything too. I was very well prepared. Okay, can you guys hear me? I know there's a couple of people on and I don't know if you can type. Hey Rosie, can you hear me okay? I just put my AirPods in and I just want to make sure that I'm coming through loud and clear so I'm not talking to nothingness. And I want to be able to make it so you guys can see the sunset too. Yay! You can hear me. I need to get my angles right. There we go. So you're not going to see so much of me because you're going to see a lot more of my sunset. Let me just angle. Ah, that's good there. Yay, thank you. Cool. So here we go. You're going to see like the top of my head. Maybe I should stand up. Maybe that'd be better. I wanted to be comfortable in my chair while I chatted to you guys. So hello. Welcome again. Oh, that's good. Now you can see my silhouette and the sunset. Oh my God, look at that. So every day I get this in varying degrees and patterns. Some days the sky is like this beautiful bright pink and sometimes it's blues and golds. And so today it's like, it's a bit of everything. It's wonderful. And I wanted to come and connect with you guys and say hello and see how everyone's going. How are you all doing during these crazy fun times in the world? I don't know about you guys, but I seem to be creating more and different than I ever have in my life. So I'm grateful. I'm so grateful for everything that's been created and that that I'm creating, and also the Access Consciousness, my I don't know what they are, my life, my business, my choices every day. Hey Victor. Yeah, so I wanted to get on today and have both an epic view, and no one really submitted questions. So if you guys are on here live and you want to ask me anything at all, please ask. Busier than ever, exactly. It's like now we can have some downtime. But the one thing I have been doing, and I will be totally honest there, is definitely putting myself first, and not in this way of like stopping anything else because that would be boring. But this way of like, I was even just reading an article somewhere where they were saying when Australians get out of quarantine, they're going to emerge more beautiful, more buff and more healthy. And I'm like, that's exactly me. Like I've been taking care of my body and really connecting with myself in a way that I've wanted to do. I don't know, blah, blah, blah. It's not even like I've wanted to or haven't wanted to. It's something I've known was available. And it's so weird how most of the world's in complete turmoil with like all of these changes. Oh my God, the sunset, right? You remember these sunsets. You've seen a lot of these firsthand. Yeah, I can't remember what I was saying, but it's like, it's not like there's a reason or justification, but it's like, what if everything now that's available, we could choose something different. And it didn't have to be because of this or not because of that, or when things go back to normal or when things go back to how they were, that things are going to change again. Like what if really we started creating the future that we knew was possible? Is my sister watching? She is. Hello, Heidi. The future we knew was available was something we could start creating right now. So for me, that's been like, I've had some epic conversations in classes and just with people. Like I was talking to a friend the other day and we just had this great conversation about possibilities and also like the willingness now to be super aware of everything that's going on around us and stepping into more of that, like really having this as a time to like start choosing all the stuff that like, hey, start choosing all the stuff that we, like for me, like I can talk about myself a lot, like because obviously I know my story of being someone that's always busy. Like anyone that knows me knows I'm always going somewhere, I'm always planning my next trip, we're always working on an access class, and we're still doing that. And there's also now a space where I've really started to tap into myself and what I desire to create. And a big part of that is like I want to say like educating myself more, but it's not educating myself in the way of like, you know, taking a course or something like that. It's definitely about using some of the resources that I have available and actually tapping into them and using those now. So for instance, some of the Access Consciousness books, not necessarily just the Access books, but Gary has a bunch of books that he also recommends for us to read. So I've started reading one of those, The Magic of Recluse. And also I've started a book club for Relationship Are You Sure You Want One? Because I figure, hey, like if I'm not going to the space that's Australia, yeah. If I'm not going to kind of be so motivated to read these books by myself, like what if doing a book club where we just get online? So we had the first one this morning and I think there was like 6 or 7 of us on there, and just having this space where we read some of the book, we asked each other questions, we talked about things, and just really had this place of vulnerability with the tools that are in the book. Hey, Mark. So yeah, like for you guys as well, like anyone that's watching, like, what are you guys choosing now and creating? And the same with my body. I did a Facebook Live yesterday or the day before. I've started running, which is something that I've never had a lot of ease with. And now that I'm willing to tap into whatever this new space is that I have available, that I'm willing to actually receive and choose now, I'm running with total ease, like ease on my body, and the distance is coming so much easier. Yeah, so like I know a lot of stuff as well coming up in the media and what's going on in people's lives is about their relationships with each other. But what I'm really looking at, and I know, you know, I'm repeating myself because this is what I've said the whole time, is my relationship with myself. And I'm really starting to realize that place of like where I'm not willing to have vulnerability with myself, communion with myself. I'm not willing to have it with anyone else. But everywhere I'm willing to choose more of that, I find so much more available in everything else, like not just with other people, but also with the earth. Like with everything is here to contribute to us. That's one of those fake backgrounds. No, it's happening in real life. How beautiful is that? Like even just tapping into that energy right now and like having that as part of like however and whatever we're creating in the world. So yeah, I don't really know what I wanted to really talk about today so much, like, and I won't stay on here for ages if it's not really flowing. I've had an epic day. I've another day of like really taking care of my body. I had amazing massage with a lady that takes care of us here on the coast. She's fucking epic with bodies. You know, I went and rode my bike. I did a great stretch. I've been doing some work, catching up on things, catching up with people. Sorry, I'm moving around a lot because there's a lot of mosquitoes all of a sudden biting me. What's some of your favorite tools and questions to use and ask when you wake up in the morning to choose your reality and not buy into everyone else's? That's a great question. So thank you. Mornings are like a big thing for me. And I know I've said this before, but morning time is like, I'm totally a morning person. Like that's the time where I think my book club this morning was 5 a.m. in Australia. So I was up at 4:30 getting ready. And that's very normal for me. That's the time of day that I love. And I love having some time in the morning and throughout the day, but definitely the morning for me is where I set the pace or set the mood for the day. So I find if I have that like 5 or 10 minutes or even longer in the morning to ask some questions and to play with the energy that I want to have in my world for the day, it has that flow on effect. It really helps. So thank you, Victor. Questions are so good. Fuck, I love questions. Ask more questions, everyone, not just of me, but of yourselves as well. Like, what if every morning you woke up and asked a question? Like, that was the first thing you did, and it didn't matter what question it was. It was just like anything. Like, Access has a billion of them, but you could come up with your own. Like, what else is possible today? Or who am I today, and what grand and glorious adventures will I have? The one that I love is one that my brother gave us the other day on something. What am I willing to be today that I've never been willing to be before? And that for me has opened up a whole space of being and receiving that, like I've been talking about up until now. It's like I'm tapping into some, long forgotten parts of my world and of myself. So definitely that. But also another thing Simone suggested on a call, it might have been in JCF training, and she said it a few more times as well. Let me just make sure you guys are getting the bulk of that sunset while it's finishing up. Is instead of, like, I would usually go to my phone, like, while I'm sleeping. Europe's been up for Europe's whole day's gone there in the evening. America's about halfway through their day. So I generally grab my phone and catch up on Skype and WhatsApp and see what's been happening while I sleep. So that's kind of puts me already into that place of doing. It was putting me into this place of like instantly tapping into what everyone else requires, which I'm great at. I don't know about you guys, but that is definitely basically where I've created my whole life from up until now. Well, a good part of it, and it's something else that I'm really discovering a lot more now as well, is how good I am at that. Like how much of a capacity I have to see where I'm required and to see what other people require, and to instantly be able to jump into that and do whatever, to align and agree with it, to resist and react to it, to something, like to be something like for or against it or whatever. So I've been trying now these last few mornings to spend at least half an hour and not look at my phone. So, but definitely even before getting out of bed is to like, also there's this great energetic exercise you can do, and there's a million different ways to do it whatever's fun for you. But I like to, it's almost like when you work out, right? You work your muscles, like you work on this muscle or that muscle, or you do this exercise or that exercise. Doing energetic exercises to increase my capacities with energy. So the main one I love first thing in the morning is just expanding and basically being energetically as big as the earth. So like that used to would have taken me a couple of minutes to like slowly boop, 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 all of Australia, and then more of like Asia, and now it's like this instant thing. I can lay there, I have the sounds of the birds, the earth waking up, and really put myself out energetically to take up the whole world. And now it's like, okay, so what next? Like, where else can I go energetically? Because I find the more I'm willing to step into those places with energies, the less effect anything has on me for the rest of the day. And I can be the energy with it, like whatever's required in that moment. Because I think I know we are energetic beings, and this whole world functions from one language that everyone understands and everything understands, and that is energy. And when you're willing to, like, everything is just an energy. When something's up, or you're pissed off, or you're happy, or like, that's a capacity, that's an energy that you're aware of that is in your world. And it's more the way that we choose to like respond to that energy that creates us, like that creates the upset and intrigue in our life, the happiness, the sadness, all that sort of stuff, rather than just having an action with things, which is being a question. So you recognize an energy, and rather buying into it and reacting to it, it's like, okay, so what's this? Like, what am I aware of here? Good one. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for the question. Guys, honestly, anything that comes up in your world, please ask, because it's such a contribution as well when someone asks a question, because it sort of like helps me as well. So with awareness and energy as well, I just want to also quickly touch on that. And sorry, I'm totally in my cash gear today. My hair's like, post-massage hair. But anyway. So I was walking home the other day from the beach and totally got lost. I did a Facebook post about it. It was quite funny. There's a little pathway that leads in between some houses to get home from the beach, and I totally walked past it and then was like, okay, where the fuck am I? I had to take a minute to like backtrack my steps and find my way home, which I thought was hilarious. Thank you. Thanks, Patricia. And then I did it again. It was so funny. I was walking home the next day or the day after, and I was walking along and I heard this bird sound, like this bird call that I'd never heard before. It almost sounded like an owl, which we do get in Australia, but they're not generally out in the daytime. So I stopped and turned to where I heard the sound and thought, went to that cognitive place of like, oh, well, I'll go over and have a moment there in nature. So I went and stood there, which was wonderful, and then kept walking. But then I was like, hang on, I've walked past that spot again, and I turned around. The exact moment I was meant to turn to go up the path was where I'd heard that bird sound. But what I went one way with it, like, and this might not be correct, it's just an example of when I looked at it afterwards, I was like, fuck, like, I swear that was a contribution from the bird going, oi dude, fucking turn up the path, it's right there. And also this place where I've started to play with everything being a contribution, like that, like the little things. Contribution doesn't have to be this big, like, moment of like, the clouds part and the angels start singing. It can just be those little things as well. Like, what if okay, so what if we were willing to have absolutely everything contribute to us? Like the chair you're sitting on right now, or the shoes that you're wearing on your feet, or like wherever your body is right now, whatever you're touching up against, whether it's like a chair or your bed or your couch, or you're standing up or you're leaning on something, or like, what if you asked, hey, will you contribute to me? And see what happens, see what changes. And when you're out walking, or like I was playing with this the other day as well, when I was out just taking a walk, or I think I'd been running and I was walking on the way back. Hey, John, thank you. Oh, no, sorry, it's not John, it's Jivan. Hey, Jivan. Sorry, my shades are on and apparently that means that I can't read. Thank you. I like my shades too, they're reflecting so I can see you and you can see me. Yeah, like I was walking after I'd been running, and I think there was a guy on a bike or something like that, and I just tapped into the space of him riding past on his bike being a contribution to me. I never get to be so present all of the time. I find myself wandering all of the time. Yeah, cool. I can look at that in a second as well. Yeah, and like even, I don't know, like how crazy are you guys willing to be with this as well? Like for me, I've always tried to have consciousness with a lid on in a way. Except when I was a kid, I didn't give a fuck then. I was willing to be as crazy as I wanted to be. But I've found like as I've moved through life and the choices that I've made, there's been certain ways that I've made my choices where I've chosen to be normal, I guess, which is so hilarious. Like any of us trying to fit in and be normal with things is just so funny. Like what if we were willing to truly start being the difference in the world? And no matter how crazy we looked, like I think Gary said like, how would it be for you if you were so crazy no one ever wanted to speak to you again? And like, what if we could start playing with some of that energy, and rather than creating a world where we fit in any way, or where we did things based on what other people require from us, that we were always willing to be the weird, crazy people that we truly be and know what we know. Like this bird calling out to me and the guy riding past on his bike and me tapping into the molecules of his bike and the molecules of his body and allowing those to contribute to me, and then being like, oh, so if I have the awareness that it's available there, like where else can I ask for that stuff? Like what else is willing to contribute to me that I never even bothered to ask for its contribution? Because I can do all of this myself. My life is my own creation, and I'm responsible for everything. Like what if everything out there was willing to contribute to you if you were willing to ask for it too? So Rosie, you were asking something about being present. You find yourself wandering all the time. So I don't know if you mean like wandering off, like, well, I mean, you're a humanoid. Like I would say you need to have at least 10 to 50 things on the go at any time. And if you mean you're not present with the tools, or you're not present with yourself, that's just a muscle. It's really about the moment you catch yourself not being present. It's not like trying to figure it out. Oh, I'm not being present again. What was it that distracted me? How long was I not being present for? It's about really in that moment, the minute you realize you've gone a wandering, mind wandering. It's about just asking to come back, and also having allowance for yourself. Like sometimes it's nice to just zone out for a little while. And especially I find I'll do that if I'm trying to force myself to do something I really don't want to do, or now is not the time to do it. Hey, Retha. So if I'm like, I need to sit down and answer some emails, or I need to get this financial thing done, or I need to do this, and then I go to do it and I'm distracted by Facebook, Instagram, surfing the net looking for the latest workout, which I was doing before, you know, buying things on online shopping. It's also like, okay, so is now actually the time to be doing this thing that I've told myself I have to do? Or is it time to be creating something else and then coming back to this later? But presence for me has been something that I have had to work at and still do. And I was always the kid in school, like, Sarah gets distracted easily. Sarah always is talking. Sarah is always distracting the other students. Like, fuck, go back and read my report card from the whole of my primary school and that would have been what it would have said. So, like, what if there was nothing wrong with that as well? And what if that was a contribution? Like, what if you started asking, like, okay, so what contribution is this and what awareness am I getting out of this? And turned it into a question, turned it into a possibility and not a problem. Like, how many times do we make something a problem just because we think it's a problem or that we think it's wrong? Like today I was like, I'm going to ride my bike and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to do these weights, I'm going to do this exercise. And I got out on my bike and my body was like, no, dude. And I was riding quite slowly. Other bike riders were passing me, which would have used to have made me like, oh my God, I need to keep up with them. And now it's like where am I making this a problem? And where am I making my body a problem? Like, to go to that place with my body of like, oh, you're not performing, or you're not going fast enough, or you're not keeping up with these other people, or you're not doing what I told you had to do. Like, it's so creating this place of something being a problem that can just be another possibility. So I enjoyed a leisurely bike ride and then I came home and got an epic massage and my body was so happy. So, yeah. And what are you guys making a problem with yourselves? Like, even if you put everything else aside for a little while, like all of the things where you tell yourself you're not good enough because you didn't do whatever, or you've got this problem with this person, or you're arguing with that person. Like, what if you just started looking at you? Like, for the next 24 hours, you really started playing with your relationship with yourself. And every time you judge yourself, every time you make yourself wrong, every time you go to problem instead of possibility, what if you really started playing with that? Chris was on the JCF training the other day and talked about a conversation he had with Gary, and this created a huge shift for me. So I'm going to share it with you guys, and whether or not it's something that you're ready to hear yet or not, or, you know, whatever. Play with it, don't play with it. But he was talking to Gary about something. I think they were in Costa Rica, and Gary said to him, yeah, but you are someone who is willing to be in everyone else's world. When will you start inviting people to your world? And that for me was like one of those total mic drop moments, because that for me is totally pretty much where I'm always willing to be aware of everyone else. I'm always willing to be aware of what's going on in their world, what's good with them, what's bad with them. But never been a place where I was willing to sit back and invite people into my world. Invite people, and that for me is like also Dane's book, Being You, Changing the World by Dane Here. I heard that book, like I used to have it on audio and I would listen to it going to and from work every day. Like I'd probably listened to that book like 50 times or more. I'll look at your questions in 2 seconds, guys. Yeah, I've probably listened to and read that book at least 50 times, and I always knew there was something there for me that was missing a little bit. And when Chris brought this up, and I mean, that was 5-6 years ago I started reading that book, and then just the other day Chris saying this was like all these little pennies dropped into place about like being you is actually being willing to be you and invite other people into your world, to be a space where you are so congruent with what you're choosing and so congruent with who you be that you're an absolute invitation for people to come in and check that out with whatever you're doing, with how you create your body, with how you create your finances, with how you just be in the world, like literally walking through the streets, going to the shop to buy toilet paper. Like in that moment, being an energy where people look at you and like, that it's not a cognitive thing. It's not even like she's good looking or he's so sexy or something like that. But it's this place where they're like so attracted to the energy of who you be, because you're being you and you're willing to invite people to that possibility as well. So maybe if you guys want to play with that, it's definitely been you know, I'm someone who runs and processes myself and looks at all of this, or while I'm working out, I'm doing it. So this has been a big one for me. And I know it's the reason why my whole run and my whole body while running changed. Seriously, I was running for, it would be a week today, and I'm training for a 5K just because I chose that. It's not even significant or anything. I was just like, I'm just going to train for a 5K. And on Sunday was my first long run, so it was meant to be 3.8 kilometers. And I was a bit like, oh, and I know for some people it's probably not very far. But I went out and I got to the 3.8 and my little app told me my run was over. And I was like, no, I'm going to go and do 4K. So I kept going. I think I did like 4.2 kilometers, and I could have kept running. But I was home and I was coming to meet my sister to do another workout. And I know these tools and playing with like this stuff, about being you and being an invitation completely changed my whole body and my whole reality. So if that's something that's pinging you guys as well, I've asked Chris to please do a podcast with me on it as well. So that will be coming out on my podcast in the next few weeks. But yeah, so I'm just going to quickly flip back because I think Victor had something and Heidi had something. This live to change the energy of my morning. Really fucking cool. Thank you, my friend. You're always a contribution. Please, anytime. Thank you for being here and for asking questions and for being a huge contribution in this world. What tools do you use to stop making yourself wrong? Well, probably, So with making yourself wrong, it's one of those things where it's a choice. So you've really got to look at that. When you go to that place of wrongness, it's like, what is that actually creating? And you know, without getting like harsh about it or whatever, there's no fucking time for this shit anymore, guys. Like there's really no time for us the game changers, the people that are here that actually desire to contribute and change something in the world. There's no more time for us to sit in our shit. Hey, like the minute you get to that place of like, I'm a piece of shit, I'm wrong, I did that wrong, how embarrassing, I said the wrong thing, I don't know, I chewed and spat food on someone, I had food in my tooth, I was on a meeting and sounded like an idiot, I started this Facebook Live, dropped my AirPods, forgot my AirPods. Like, the minute you get to that place, you just gotta fucking choose to change it straight away. And be willing to be wrong. Brendan had a fucking excellent quote on his something the other day. What was it? I think I put it in my notes. Hang on, I need to find this because it was so awesome. Because in choosing, you can be wrong. You can still be wrong. Hang on, let me see if I've got it here. 1 second, sorry. Yeah, this one. You've got to be willing to take action even if it's wrong. And it was actually Dane that said that. And I know it's not exactly what you were asking, Heidi. It's probably more, it's a little bit different to that, but making yourself wrong, they're talking a lot in Access at the moment. Oh my God, look at those colors. We're talking a lot in Access at the moment about action and reaction. Making yourself wrong is a reaction. It's a reaction to whatever. That's fine, you can't really see me, I think that's fine. So the minute you go to wrongness of yourself, of anyone else, of a situation, you're reacting to something. So like in Access then we talk about action. So action is question. Action is choice, possibility, contribution. So what if it was as simple as that? The tool being, okay, so I'm making myself wrong, or I'm making this person wrong, and not trying to figure it out, not being like, you know, oh, well, what was it that got me there? Or am I just picking up on something of theirs? Do I need to return it to sender? Which is all great stuff as well. But what if it was like, if you just asked a question, am I reacting here? Or am I in action? Am I in action or am I in reaction? And anytime you're making yourself or anyone else wrong, it's reaction. So then you just got to flip it and get yourself back into action. And that is asking a question. And having fun with being wrong sometimes too, like embarrassing yourself. And if you want to give me an example as well, any of you guys. Hi Jade. Hi Rosie. Hi Natalie. Oh, hugs from Australia. Hi Jennifer. Like if you guys have an example of when you're making yourself wrong, because I know like, hey, 10 seconds is gone, I've made myself wrong at least 3 times. But if there's something in particular that I could help you with around that, please ask like any specific sort of stuff as well. And then we can look at that as well. But I would say start playing. And sometimes you got to be a little firm with yourself too. Like, give yourself a strong talk as well. I don't want to give you guys strong talk because, you know, it's not kind, it's not fun. But like, seriously, we've really got to start getting a little bit firm with ourselves on this stuff, I think. A little bit like, you know, you've got to just cut the shit out sometimes as well. So I also made a post today on Facebook about relationships. So if you guys have any other questions, let me know. I have been on here for a little while. It's so funny. I come onto these Facebook lives. I'm like, what am I going to talk about? I don't have anything to talk about. And then, you know, 45 minutes, it's still like, you can stop talking now, Sarah. No, I'm having fun. So I asked in Facebook today, because I'm doing the Relationships Done Different, Relationship Are You Sure You Want One book club. I've even got my book here. This book is fucking awesome, guys. Like, seriously, the book club just started today, so I'm going to plug myself here. There's 8 more sessions. I'm doing 3 a week for 3 weeks. It's only $50 and we have country pricing. So for an Aussie, that's like $40 or something like that. Steering towards, I think. No, I wouldn't let Ish speak. Yes, yeah, so if you guys are interested in reading this book, or you've started reading it and put it down 6 times or 7 times, or you've read parts of it or whatever, jump on the book club if you want to. I don't want to like make it a big thing, but I'm pretty sure Brendan will come on an episode, Simone will come on an episode. I'm going to ask some other people. I haven't asked them yet. Paula Peralta has said yes. I haven't confirmed. So over that 9 weeks as well, it's not just going to be sitting there reading a book because that shit's boring. I did read a fair bit today. It was awesome. But we talked about stuff. Like, we looked at and went away with a bit of home play to play with. So if you guys are interested, and also if you're a CF with access, think about doing a book club. I'm going to do more of them because apparently it helps me. So it's been really fun. And then I went to my Facebook page and asked a question about relationships. I said, hang on, handling 2 things at once here. Anyway, I think it was, I need to know because that's where all the answers are. Sorry, guys. If you could change anything with relationships, what would it be? Sorry, my selfie stick / iPad operation's a little wonky. So heaps of people replied. Like, I get so much how big relationship is and this topic is. Oh my God, look at that sunset still. The sky's like changed again. So being more present, one person said, which is what we were talking about before as well. There's a lot here about like distractor implants as well, like being right and wrong, expectation, judgments, being needy. Like, how much of it is actually stuff that we invent in our relationships as well, just like we do in the rest of our lives? Yes, you can still join the book club. I think Rosie posted the link a little bit further up and I can post it again. Yeah, the next one is my Wednesday morning, I think. So it'll be your Tuesday night. I think that's right in Europe. And it'll be Tuesday midday in the US. It's quite early in Australia, about 6 a.m. But it's a good time for New Zealand. And I mean, if you're an early bird like most Australians are, it's still fine. But what if this place we created in relation, like what if we looked at relationship, like whatever level of communion and no judgment and the 5 elements of intimacy, allowance, vulnerability, gratitude, trust, and I always forget one. Gratitude, trust, vulnerability, allowance, and someone tell me. Gratitude, allowance, vulnerability. It'll come to me. Like, what if we almost had like a measure when it came to our relationships with other people? Whatever we were willing to have with ourselves, with all of those things, communion, no judgment, the 5 elements of intimacy, wherever we were willing to go with ourselves with that, no separation, no distractor implants, that was what we could have with everyone else. And what if that was your measure? Like, whatever I can have with me, I can have with everyone else. Gratitude, vulnerability, allowance, trust, and honor. Thank you, Rosie. Boom. And start, like, play with these as well. Like, what if you had the 5 elements of intimacy and wrote them on a piece of paper and stuck them, you know, on your mirror in your bathroom or on your fridge or at your desk where you work, or put them as a reminder in your phone? Like, what if this was where you started? Like, everything in relationships, you started with the relationship with you. And like, when you get to that place of separating it from yourself, like making yourself wrong or choosing someone else in favor of choosing what's actually going to work for you because you think that's going to piss them off, or it's just going to be easier to keep everyone else happy. What if every time you got to that place with yourself, you stopped, looked at these 5 elements of intimacy, looked at the place that you were not choosing it, and then changed it? And what if you just not cut everyone else out? Because obviously you've got your relationships, we've got family, we've got, you know, lovers, we've got co-workers, we've got children, we've got parents, we've got all of that. Like, it's not about ever disconnecting any of that. But what if for the next like 24 hours, 48 hours, 7 days, you made the demand of yourself to focus on your relationship with you? And for me, the thing that 2 things really helped me with that, and this is really what this whole COVID-19 thing, amongst many other things, but it's probably the main thing that I've really been consciously working on, I guess you would say. The 2 things was the thing that Chris said about being the invitation for other people to be in my world. And the other thing is that Dane said it was on JCF training as well. Oh my God, what an epic class. It was the Joy of Business Facilitator training with Simone last week, but we had Chris on, did a spot. I mean, Gary came on, Brandon came on, Dane came on, I think it was the last day. And he said at one point, what if your desire was to create a life that was a gift to the world? And I was like, fucking hell, like my whole life, I've looked for a purpose in this world, to leave a mark, to be like, oh, I came here to create this, or I'm going to measure my life on whatever. And for you guys, it might be on being a parent or creating your business or, you know, inventing something. I mean, like the rocket ship for poor internet connection. That's been the rocket ship for getting me going on this. And then I'm building on that now. Like, I'm starting, that's where I go to every day. And then I use the tools from this book and all the other tools, and I might head inside, it's getting quite dark out here. All the other tools on Access classes. I mean, Dane just finished a $14 for 14 days with Dane program that he did a Facebook Live every day for 14 days. It cost $14 US. And I haven't even watched them all yet. And that was like, yeah. So anyway, I'm going to probably start wrapping this up. What if for the next 7 days you focus on your relationship with you? Yes, exactly. And what if you started asking the question, what do you desire to create as your life? And if your desire is to create a life that is a gift to this world, start looking at what that looks like for you. And start looking at energetically what it would look like to invite everyone else to be a part of that gift. To be a part of everything that you are and that you're willing to be and that you desire to create in this world. And to be an invitation doesn't mean anyone ever has to accept it. It's just an energy where you are there and you are totally present with everything that's going on around you, but you are you. Like, yeah. So thank you everyone for watching. I adore you guys. I will be doing another one of these next week. If you want to join the book club, go to sarahwatt.com.au/book club and we'll put it in the thing. I think Rosie already did because she's fucking awesome. And if there's anything you guys want me to look at on this, come on live and ask because that's always super fun. Or you can submit questions. If you go to the website, there's a little form you can fill in. So thank you again. I hope you're enjoying this time of immense change in the world and taking advantage of creating as much change in your life and in the rest of the world as you can as well. So thank you for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.